Hello Soldatans and welcome to Officer Academy Week 2. Previously on Officer Academy we started with the basic tactical movement, and this time we will speak a little bit more about the advanced tips when it comes to the tactical movement. So let's head on and let's start right away. We will also mention 5 key points like we mentioned before. First of those this time is know your maps. Second, again, awareness. Third, micromanagement. 4, follow basic rules. And 5, keep your men alive and safe. Just like in our previous week, before we start battle, we always must prepare. This time we'll speak about the grouping of your troops. So you take 2 or more troops, you press control a number and you group those troops. So with one click you can order multiple units to move on a multiple sides. This way you can easily micromanage and move around enemy troops and use your maneuvering to the fullest. So once we finished with our preparations, once we grouped our troops, it is important that we know our maps. Every map has its key point. Those key points are strategic points of interest, which can be used to apply pressure to the enemy, to guard your flank, or simply to hold the line. These key points usually will have a good overlook at the area of interest and will have a great advantage when it comes to fighting an enemy. Try to take these key points immediately, as soon as possible. Besides knowing the terrain and the key points, what else you can do is to be aware of your map, aware of surroundings. So watch at the minimap, it will blink when the enemy is around. This is for the new players, but it can be useful to try it, to watch at the map. Also, there is interesting mechanics in which if you hit a troop or that troop hits you, you can see through the fog of war 2 seconds after it's done. Try to use this. This can be used really effectively to choke up a point, to buy some time, or just simply to poke the enemy until you are able to maneuver around. This is a great tactic in which you can engage the enemy, which will most likely defeat you, but this way you can buy some free time to plan something and go ahead. Another interesting part is planning of your capturing route. This is really important. This way you're trying to optimize how to capture points, which points to capture and where to rush first. So you are trying to use your engineers most likely in the first minutes to push forward and capture the key points first, while the troops afterwards will cap behind. This way you can ensure that you capture a strategic point which will make it easier for you later on, while you can always go and capture those points again. So try to anticipate key points and the plan which will be executed. Another interesting tip is to retreat your AT backwards. This way your troops will be less exposed and you will have more time to react in case that you manage to counterattack them or to attack enemy vehicle. This way your troops won't fire at the enemy when they are facing them backwards, but this will help your troops survive a little bit more and it will save the crews of that support weapon. So try to use this as much as you can. Besides knowing the map and knowing the terrain, you should also know the troops in a way, or know how to listen to the battlefield. What I mean by this is that you can watch at the fog of war, that you can watch the terrain and listen to the noises. And often you can hear a heavy vehicles or any other vehicle moving or crushing the terrain. You can even see it. This way you know which kind of a vehicle is it just by looking at which terrain it is crushing and by the sound of its engine. Now I want to mention something we haven't mentioned last time. In a tactical movement, interesting tip can be to simply wait for enemy weakest period during the battle. In case of an MG, that is time when it is reloading. So if you have to assault a strategic point held by the enemy, you should wait for him to reload, as we saw here. That will buy you a valuable tick which you will need to get close enough so you can throw that Molotov or any other grenade you need to do damage to that position. So try to time your assault in a specific time period which will go to your benefit. Now we will speak about attack ground. This is really important. Here I am using tanks to explain, but this can also apply to the ATs. Once the enemy used his smoke grenade to block the view of your vehicle, you can use attack ground. So press G and order your vehicle on which direction to fire to hit the enemy vehicle. This can neutralize the enemy ability of smokescreen, and that way you can damage him even through his smoke. I'm putting this somewhere in the middle. Keep your troops safe. Use the medic bunker, use the healing stuff. That is important. Healthy troops will last longer and will prevail much more in a battle. They are the backbone of your army. Keep them safe and alive. Another key aspect in tactical movement and positioning, key positioning, is placing your mortar at the right place so you have advantage. This particular example is showing us how to place a mortar so that you can fire at the enemy while trying to sustain as less damage as you can. This house is providing a perfect cover for your mortar while it is allowing your mortar to fire at the enemy. This is one of the best positions you can use. Tall buildings which provide a great cover. Also, mortars can be used perfectly to smoke a key point which then your troops can use to assault. Try not to get too close to the building because sometimes the smoke grenades will just bounce off the building and won't smoke. So once you smoked the enemy position, you can freely move your troops forward without the danger, and you can do damage to the unit you're attacking. So while you're pressing the smoking barrage to start, you immediately move your troops so you can buy some time, because the smoke screen won't last for ages. Try to plan that and use the time in the best possible way. Another tip when you are planning to do a tactical assault or to move or to advance or even to move in a position which you know is risky, that might enemy be there and is maybe waiting for you, is that you can watch the enemy arc of an MG inside a building even through a fog of war. Use that. Search the battlefield for the enemy inside. Try to get as much intel as you can, and this is a free way of getting intelligence. Use this to plan where enemies are, where they are facing, and plan your attack accordingly. Another useful tip which you guys can use is that you can play with enemy arc. So this is an idea. When you're assaulting a key point, and if you know that there is someone there blocking your advance, your tactical movement, you can use smoke barrage to get close, and then you can move around the arc. Every MG takes up to 3 seconds maximum, but mostly 2 seconds to turn his arc and start firing to do damage and suppress your infantry. Your task is to move around that arc and try to, let's say, make enemy move around and do not giving him enough time to do those crucial shots which he needs to suppress you or do damage. This can be used, but you need to be careful because the micromanagement can be difficult if enemy has some supporting units. Another interesting component of the game is that you must play with the enemy, play with his mind, try to enjoy the game as much as possible. And one of my favorite is to lure enemy into an ambush. As we saw here for an example, enemy saw us there and he knows that we are stronger up close and he tries to move forward, but right on the other side of the building we were waiting for him. So try to make ambushes as much as possible. Try to push enemy into your territory. Try to impose your plan on him. And that way, try to, let's say, use attack as defense. As they say, attack is the best defense. We will finish with smoke abilities of your foot troops. Here I want to show you the best example of our previous videos mentioned the difference of troops and their abilities. So here we have shock troops, which are dedicated long-range units fighting against Volksgrenadiers. Shock troops are best used up close. They are a meat grinder. So we used a smokescreen barrage to get up close without taking any damage and then attacking the enemy position. In the end, I hope that you soldatans enjoyed in another Officer Academy video. If you did, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to get notified about other videos. Soon we will post a video about the armor and combined arms as it was requested, but that will come soon during the next week. I would also like to tell you that we will during this week have a video about the mortars special which I made, in which we will discuss the difference between the mortars and which mortar is the best. So don't forget to stick around to check for that, and also leave your opinions down below and tell me what do you think about all of this. Until next time, thank you guys and see ya.